Hey backer, so I got in the samples for the production run. Now there is an adjustment I already know I have to make, but I wanted to wait to open it in front of you, so let's get this opened. Okay, this one is the XL, and here's the 3.0. Alright, so we have the 3.0 built, and this is always a little nerve-wracking for me because now I get to see whether or not the tolerances that I adjusted in this spot and this spot are correct. So let's see. Oh yeah, that's great. Whew. Okay, let's stick the pin in there. Make sure that fits too. Yep, good fit. Not wobbly, good. Looks good, thank goodness. Well, whoa, whoa, whoa. Here's my little special guest right here. Hey son, how's it going? My little helper. This hole right here, this is a storage hole for the locking pin. And if you guys remember, if you've been following along, this is the pin that we're going to have custom made. And this is a slick pin. And the special thing about this is this little wedge here is spring loaded. And so once it's in there, it's not going to come out. So let's pop this thing out so I can show you. Okay, so we have our slick pin. We're going to pop it in, right? This isn't the exact one. It's going to be shorter, right, according to the thickness of the Gravity X, or the 3.0 here. And when we want to release it, we're going to depress it, and we can pull it out, right? Okay, so now let's say we want to store it, and we're going to store it here in our little storage holes. Oh, look at these holes. They're a little too small. That's not good. They're supposed to be exactly the same size. This is the reason why we do prototypes before production runs, because we have to figure out everything that needs to be adjusted. I just drilled this out so it'd be 3/16 of an inch in diameter. And now here's the problem we have with the storage hole. There's a couple of them. When I take this and I put it in to store it, right, one thing, it hits this bolt. Now we could rotate the bolt just a little bit and now it falls into place, you see. But then that's just one extra step that you have to do while you're using this, and we don't want to have extra steps. So I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to move it down just a little bit so that it doesn't interfere with this bolt right here. Now here's the other problem. Okay, we have it stored, everything's great, but now when we want to take it out, we depress our wedge and we pull it, and now the wedge springs back open again and we can't get it past here. And this gap, we can't even get our thumbnail in there, just barely. What I'm going to have to do is cut a little notch so that you can rotate this little pin and pull it out, almost like a key coming out of a lock. Now this one's not tumbled, so we just have to tumble it still. And that way you guys can see how sharp the edge is right there. Well, that's going to be gone, of course, because we're going to get it tumbled. But otherwise, it's looking good. So as I was drilling out these holes to accept a 3/16 inch pin, I thought I could just place it in my drill press and let it cut, right? Just a little tiny bit. But what happened is it got caught in the drill bit, it spun around, and it cut me. Hey! Alright, let's get back to business. Fingers crossed. Looks like they're a little too tight. But where are they too tight? You see how... It's probably hard for you to see. There you go. See, you see that moon shape in there? It's because parts aren't aligning. It's because something is too tight on this cross piece, so it's one thing we're going to have to figure out. Alright, I found the spot. It's this notch right here. Was just a little bit too tight. Maybe 1/1000th of an inch or 2/1000th of an inch. I don't know. I just filed it down a little bit, and now you can see it fits in just fine, and the pin can go in. But once that's there, that looks good. The tolerances are good. It's not all sloppy. Nice and square. Okay, when I put this pin in the storage hole, it's perfectly clear of this nut, and so we're good there. But again, once I depress the wedge and try to pull it out, it gets stuck on the other side of the linkage. So I'll have to make a keyhole for that. Now for the progress on the XS in titanium. This one isn't tumbled, right? If you ask me, titanium is the ugly duckling of unfinished metal, and I'll show you why. In my right hand, I have a paralink. This is titanium. Right? You see how unfinished and rough it is, especially on the side where the laser exited out. And then in my left hand, It's the finished version. This one's been tumbled probably about 50 hours altogether when you put all the processes together. So you can see how much of a difference the tumbling makes. And so you can imagine, here's a bag of the parts. Here's a whole bunch of hammers. You can imagine how slick these are going to look once we get them all tumbled. Now here's the exit side, all rough and ugly. Here's the entrance side, right? Now all of this will be tumbled, and yeah, it's going to look really good. So as far as progress for the parts, I already have all the main parts, all the linkages, the hammers, and the cross pieces. And now these pins, these custom pins, I have them ordered, and they're supposed to ship on the 11th, so they should be here by the middle of this month. Now these three parts here, the split rings and the swivels, these I still have to order, but they come very quickly, so they should be here about the same time as the custom pins. Now the last thing is this spring right here. Now I tried to get this thing made in titanium, but it was just way too expensive. The people who make springs like this in titanium are in the aerospace industry, and it would bankrupt the project. I wouldn't be able to do it. So it's going to come to you in the regular plated spring steel. And these I need to order, and I'll give you an update about when it'll all come in. But hopefully this month I should be able to start shipping these out.